Hello. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm so excited to have you here. This is Workout Wednesday live stream. Do this every week. The premise is pretty simple. I basically go from data to dashboard in Tableau, and I recreate the latest Workout Wednesday challenge each week right here on YouTube and LinkedIn, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, connect with me on LinkedIn. Really helps the channel, so appreciate that. So what are we doing today? Well, we are taking a look at one of probably an often overlooked feature of Tableau, and that is Device Designer. So if we pull this up, you can't see my screen, and that's too bad. Let me fix that. Whoa, we got the infinite abyss. Need to flip my screen here. There we go. All right, so Device Designer. Basically, what does Device Designer is intended to do? If you've never used it, if you're a newer user to Tableau, or if you're a longer user of Tableau and you've just never used it, basically Device Designer is that pesky little automated phone layout that is added to every single dashboard, which was a feature that was added a while ago, 2018 or so. Automatic phone layouts for all dashboards, regardless of whether or not you want that or not. It just does it. So sometimes it can screw up your embedding. If you're embedding it, it can screw up your layout sometimes. So just be aware of it. It's around. But today we are going to take a look at how to build a dashboard, and then also use that same dashboard but arrange it in different ways for different devices. So this challenge was actually inspired by Kevin Flerlich's recent blog post about dashboard sizes. It's pretty interesting. If you haven't taken a look at it, definitely do that. It is pretty it's pretty interesting. Talks about all the different. He basically polled the the Tableau community, and asked, hey, what's your standard dashboard size? And crazy enough, we are not standardized. The options are all over the board. So that inspired me. Hey, it's okay if your dashboard sizes are all over the world, all over the place. Tableau is designed for that. Tableau has a few different features that we'll cover today about how you can do that, how you can create a single workbook and have it display differently based on the device that it's being viewed on. So, what do you say we jump right into it, eh? All right, so this is what we're going to build. It's a very simple dashboard. This was not intended to be a technically difficult challenge. It's pretty simple, straightforward. What we want to practice is using Device Designer. So, a profit ratio dashboard looking at sales, profit, and profit ratio. KPIs, geographic analysis, subcategory, and then on desktop and tablet we have a scatter plot showing order details, but on the mobile we don't. I'll go into why those are different in just a little bit. And then we need to create different experiences for each device. So. And then I just threw in, because I do want it to be a little bit technical, I threw in a Viz and Tooltip, and I pulled in a date filter. So you get a little bit of practice either way. So having said that, let's jump to it. And we're going to go into Tableau, going to connect to data. We're going to go to our good old standard Superstore. And we're just going to go build these sheets, right? So we're going to do subcategory. No, that's category. Subcategory. By profit, right? I think that's right. by profit, sorted, and colored by sales. Right? Yep. Okay, that's one. We'll call this cat. Location, double click on state. Change our mark type to a map. Oh, add in a data source filter for to remove Canada. There we go. Next thing we want to do is we're going to do that date filter. So we know that our dates, if we look at the scribe, we know that our dates, if we open up a new sheet and we open up we just throw order date, we can see that it goes to 2022. But I asked you to flip that to 2023 and then filter to year to date. So let's do that. So we're going to, the first thing we're going to do is create a calculated field, and we are going to call it new order date, and that's just going to be a date add of year for 1 on order date. We're just going to increase every order date year by 1. Make that a date. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a parameter. We're going to call it today. It's going to be a date parameter. The default value is the 8th because that's when I created the challenge. Create a, nope, I don't know why I keep doing that, because I don't like it whenever you have calculated field. I was working on a work dashboard before I jumped onto this live stream, doing a lot of copying and pasting across the different data sources. And Tableau keeps your clipboard, like it never clears your clipboard. So if there's a way that you know of a way to clear your Tableau clipboard, that would be great, because it's just muscle memory. Like I click this, and then I click the first one because it's a calculated field. But then when you have something on your clipboard, it automatically says paste up here, and then you end up doing things you didn't want to do. So create a calculated field. And we're just going to do year of order date. Nope, year of new order date equals 2023, and new order date is less than or equal to our today parameter. We call this our date filter. Click OK. Make sure this is right. There we go. Is that what it looks like? Yep, very good. Make this all data source. There we go. And we'll throw profit, right? What do we do on the map? Profit ratio. I think we also need to change this to a percentage. Default number format, percentage, 1 decimal place. Profit ratio on color. Bingo, bango. Let's do some layer formatting. We're going to wash everything out. Just like that. Go ahead and do additional formatting to get rid of our borders, our dividers. Just like that. There we go. We'll call this the map. We'll call this geo. Next up, we've got the KPIs. So again, sales, profit ratio, measure names on columns, measure values on text, measure names also on text. And again, this is one of my biggest pet peeves about Tableau. Are you ready? So on my text card, on the marks card, on text, I have measure values first and measure names second. Measure values, measure names. I want to format these. I want to format this text custom. So I go in here. I don't have my formatting options here. I have to go in here and look at what's first. Measure names. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it's just my biggest pet peeve. One of my biggest ones. All right, so we'll move that up there. We'll drop measure names over there. We'll highlight everything. We'll go here. We'll remove our carriage return. Now we'll bump this up to, say, 15. We'll make it Tableau medium. Maybe semi-bold. There we go. That looks good. And then we'll do sales. We'll do profit by sales so that it reads like a math sentence. Profit divided by sales equals the profit ratio. Get rid of the header. Do some formatting. There we go. We'll call this KPI. And the last thing is we'll do a scatter plot by order ID, showing profit and sales. And flip those around. There we go. And then we'll throw profit ratio on color. Is that what we got? That's what we got. All right. Right on. And we'll call this order detail. And then the next thing you'll notice, if we look at this, order detail. Now, let's do, here's some other things like, this is the fun thing about doing these Workout Wednesday challenges is that, I focused the challenge on device designer, but there's some other little fun things in there too. One of those being the Vision tooltip, right? So if we go back to our here, we'll go here. And if we hover on this, you can see I get a little tooltip that shows the order details for that specific order ID, right? And what's cool also is that you can see that I've color-coded the table to show where the negative profit is, right? So let's do that real quick. So let's create a sheet, and we'll throw order ID out here. Customer name. And then we'll do quantity, sales, profit. Flip these around. And then, let's see, do I have those formatted as dollars? I think I do, yep. All right, profit and sales are number format, default number format, currency, no decimal places. There we go. Add in our subtotals. Add in product. There we go. Hide our order ID. And we'll format the alignment of our totals to be over there. We'll make this look good, right? All right, now I'm gonna do, let's see, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do measure values also. Well, first I'm gonna flip my mark type from automatic to square. It's gonna look really weird for a minute, but then I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna took measure values, dropped it on color. Feature added in 2019 or it might have been a while. It might have been before that, 2017. But now you can use separate legends. So how we deal with this is we just need to create a custom diverging chart and just change it to white for each side. Change our step color to 2. Look at that. Boom. Sum of sales, do the same thing. Custom diverging. Make it white. Make it white. Step color 2. And then what we do here is we are going to do another custom diverging, but that is red. Yes, we like that. Positive is white. Step color 2. Center at 0. Just like that, right? So that's pretty cool. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to do, because it's just 2, let's go ahead and include subtotal. Let's go and include totals, right? So now if the total profit is negative, then we'll also do that. We'll also highlight that square. So now let's go ahead and add this to our tooltip. So we go in here and we will, let's see, what am I doing here? Yep, profit sales. So yep, profit sales, profit ratio. And then I'll do order details. And then I'll come in here and I'll go to sheet 5, which is our order detail. Now, I think I need to, let's do include X those. Now let's look at this. So you see how on our tooltips we get viz is too large to show. So let's figure that out, right? So what we need to do here, we'll go to our source sheet, and I could do entire view. That looks bad, but when I go here, you can see that I get entire view. Now this doesn't look great, right? It's taking up the full amount of space on both sides. That's not really what I want. What I'd really like is it to fit the width, but then I would like it to scale, right? I would like it to scale up or down depending on what I want, right? So what you can do, and this took me a while to, you can change the source sheet view to fit width. Go back to your order detail, go in here, and then you can just say, I want the maximum width to be 400. Right? And now this looks a lot better, doesn't it? I think so. Right? So, that's a pretty fun thing that you can do. Oh yeah, and see, it's a really long one, right? Like this is a really long, it's got a lot of order, it's got a lot of stuff in it. And it just grows. It just grows to meet the needs of the tooltip. So that's pretty cool. All right. I think that, and then we'll call this order line items. All right. Okay. So there we go. And we're done with this. So we'll go ahead and hide it. And there we go. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're ready to start making dashboards. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to set up show device preview. So we're going to show that device preview on default, and it's going to be generic desktop. And yeah. There we go. Generic desktop. So let's go ahead and we'll create our this is actually one of the few times that I'll actually use tiled. hope the police don't. I hope the Tableau police don't come after me for saying that. But what we can do now is we'll just start building this out. So we got KPI here. We've got subcategory. So this is where you got to really figure. You got to think about how to build out, how you want to build out your thing. So we're going to put that over there. That's going to split it there. And now we'll do subcategory here. And then we'll do order detail here. And then we'll get rid of, we don't need those necessarily. But now we'll come and we'll add some padding here. Do this entire view. Not that one. And not that one. Trying to remember how I did this. But you get the idea. You get the gist, right? You get the gist. All right, so now we'll do 10 here and 10 here. Okay, so now what we can do is go to the larger dashboard. We'll do 8. We'll do 20 pixels of padding around everything, and we'll make the background this kind of nice. Ooh, there we go. And then each of these is going to get a white background. There we go. All right. So now we'll go ahead and make these entire view. We'll fix that in a bit. Now we can just size these up, right? So we'll go here, we'll do that, and then, right? Something like that. So a couple things to think about when you're building a dashboard and you've got a map and or you've also got a scatter plot, right? So scatter plots and maps, right? Let's just take a moment and talk about these when you're building out your dashboards, right? So one thing you need to keep in mind is your aspect ratio of your map, especially in Tableau, because if I were to drop this, right? If I were to make this, right? You've got all this white space, right? Which is just really, really weird. And it can get even, depending on the size of your dashboard, it can get kind of weird, right? So try and keep your aspect ratio of your maps and your maps and your scatter plots to a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, right? And we'll kind of bump this back up. There we go. Why do you want a 1-to-1 aspect ratio? Probably more important than your map is your scatter plot to have a 1-to-1 ratio, aspect ratio. And the reason for that is we don't want to skew our axes, right? We don't want to, again, just thinking about those pre-attentive attributes and what, mind tricks, right, that our eyes do, right? If we were to put this over here, right, this is really skewed, right? So it looks more like the values to the right on the axis look so far skewed in relation to the other axis, right? And that's not what we want. And watch what happens. So I just filled this as entire view. A really great way to test your scatter plots is always keep them in standard view. And look at that. Tableau's default standard view for all scatter plots is a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. Right? So just kind of keep that in mind. And the other thing about maps, their default is always entire view. There is no You can see that I've clicked on a map. I've clicked on my map, and I don't get an option to drop down on my view because it's always going to be entire view. All right, so let's get back to basics here. All right, so there you go. So keep it, and you can even see like I have it there, like, and it's not even really right. Like you can see that I've still got this extra space here. I'm gonna take the liberty and I'm gonna expand it just a bit. It's not it's a bit exaggerated. It's not as exaggerated as what we had before. You could bring this in a little bit more, and then test it, right? That's pretty good. So that's pretty interesting. So just keep in mind your aspect ratios when it comes to your scatter plots and your maps. That's all. That's all that little tangent was. All right, we're ready to start building out some different views. So, like I mentioned at the top, Tableau automatically adds a phone layout. So let's look and see how that looks. So let's just see what happens. All right. So this is the benefit. This is the benefit of using tiled in this way. So I did use tiled. And again, I don't want the Tableau police to come after me. This is one use case where tiled actually makes sense, because since we're using the tiled aspect, Tableau will figure out whenever I go to Device Designer how I want it to be used. Now, if you know that your dashboard is not going to be used on any other device, delete this view. Just right-click on the ellipsis, delete view, and be done. Right? So you can see here, you only get, and then you can go back, right? You can go back, and now what I said was, and you can see that it's locked, right? It means that anything that you add to this will automatically be added to this, and Tableau gets to decide how you want that. Now, I did say on the phone layout, I do not want the scatter plot. So we'll unclick the lock. It opens it up, and now we have a bunch of different options. You can see here, one of the things I can do is I can just come down here to order detail, and I can just remove it. Right? I can just remove it. And then I can uncheck my, again, I can just kind of, so we can kind of do that, right? And then you can also change the total height. And then you can also choose fit width or fit all. If I choose fit all, it's going to try and fit everything in there, right? And then that's not really great, right? So fit width. So we'll do that. And then you can just kind of play with the sizing of it to make it look how you want, right? So the next thing is, if you want to, you can see here, one thing that's interesting about Device Designer, and I'm not sure how, I don't know what Tableau's reasoning is. Perhaps that it's, maybe not used enough to need it or to do the development of it, but you only get three device layouts. You'll get one phone, one desktop, one tablet. That's it. So, just something to think about whenever you do that. Now, one way that you can kind of get away with that is if you were to do a... Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Let's delete that. Let's go back to default. So here's where you can kind of get around that. You can keep in, and it only works for your default. If you go down here and instead of fixed sized, you do range, you can set your minimum and maximum size of your dashboard. I actually use this a lot. I use range almost exclusively at work because we've got people on really, really large dashboards. We've got people on really, really large monitors and devices, and we got people on really, really small. So I won't I won't do automatic. I very rarely ever do automatic, because if you've got somebody with a 40, a 52-inch widescreen monitor, and you do automatic, Tableau's going to try and fill up that whole thing, which is not going to look right, because you didn't do that. But you can set a minimum and maximum range, and then it will just fit to the size of that within those, and then it will stop at the minimum and stop at the maximum. And you can set those independently, which are really nice. So let's go back to fixed size here for default. And you don't get those options for size. The width, or the width is set, right? And it's set by all of these different options, right? But you get to decide the length of it, or the height of it, I should say. The other thing that's really cool is you have this check mark for Tableau mobile app. Are you going to be viewing this dashboard on Tableau mobile, or are you publishing this to Tableau public or embedded somewhere on a website, and you don't want what this checkbox does is it allows for the wrapper of Tableau mobile, right? So it adjusts for the wrapper of that. So if I uncheck this, you'll see that you can see it kind of switched a little bit, right? Look, right here, you can see where the fold is, right? So whenever I uncheck that, you get a little bit more stuff. Whenever I click on Tableau, when I click on the Tableau mobile, it's automatically going to change the size of the default screen. It's going to show where the fold is, right? So anything below where these crosshairs are is where the user is going to have to swipe to see more, right? That's essentially what that is. That these borders here show you what's going to be in the screen when it loads, right? And then anything down here will still be visible. They just have to scroll to see it. All right, so then what we'll do is we'll just add a tablet. And I think what I did with that is I think I changed this a bit, right? Because you can see, again, the aspect ratio, right? Keeping in mind that aspect ratio, right? So so you just kind of keep that in mind. But that's really it. That's how you do Device Designer. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Definitely recommend checking it out. Use it when you need it. Get rid of it when you don't. Pablo on YouTube says, hello, just came by to say thanks for all the videos and knowledge. Started working as Tableau dev, and hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Pablo. I appreciate that. This is why I do this. I do this for folks like you who are needing a little bit of assistance. I've been there. I've been trying to develop in the dark, if you will. And you've got people that are coming down, you've got stakeholders that are asking you to do a bunch of stuff, and you're trying to develop for them. You're trying to make them happy and keep your job and all that kind of stuff, but you're also still trying to learn, and that can be really, really frustrating. So I really appreciate the sentiment. So this is why I do this. It's all for paying it back and paying it forward, right? So appreciate it. Tim, you're awesome, man. You've been around. I think you've seen like every single one of these, and that I really appreciate that. So yes. So anyway, that is pretty much it. We've got a few more for it. We add a title. You can kind of do it there, but for the most part, this is how you do it, and it's pretty fun. So Device Designer. Go check it out and use it when you need it, or don't. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. So, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Couple things. Also, Tableau Conference is open for registration right now. It's going to be a great time. It's in Vegas. It's 3 days. It's amazing. It's so much fun. We actually do one of these sessions live there. I'll see if I can. I will start investigating what it would take for me to live stream that. I don't know if I don't know if Tableau will let me, but potentially I might do a little live drop in. So it would be on a different day, but we'll see. That's something I'm going to start to look at. But if you're interested and you can, definitely check it out. Tableau conference. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come join us. Come hang out. Come meet people. Right. Meet all the coaches. We're all going to be there, and it's going to be a good time. So definitely check that out. And let's see. What else? I think that's it. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm Sean Miller, Hipster Viz Ninja. This is the Viz Dojo. We are data people. I don't know. Right there. We are data people. Go forth and viz.